up, guys? Hope you had a fantastic holiday with family, friends, and however you do it. Hopefully we'll get more news and signings as we get closer to the winter meetings, which start next week. But I wanted to do a cast catch-up with a couple of the latest starting pitching deals, how it affects the Braves, and a little bit of news and notes from the Braves side as well. First of all, Frankie Montas signed a 2-year, $34 million deal with the Mets. And, excuse me, I don't really get this one because Frankie Montas hasn't been consistent at all. He hasn't been really good since his A's days, myriad of injuries with the Yankees, and just pure inconsistency with the Reds and Brewers. But good for him. I'm not saying the Mets can't help him and turn it around like they did with Sean Manaea, Severino, and others. I just think it's a little steep of a price, $17 million, for a guy you really don't know what you're gonna get. But if it helps them land Juan Soto, because in some weird way people think that's possible because Frankie Montas and Juan Soto are connected in some way, so maybe that has something to do with it. But from a pure move standpoint, just $17 million seems a little steep for 4.84 ERA last year, and just pure inconsistencies in the latest bulk of his career. But we'll see. But this tells you that pitching is going to cost an arm and a leg, because Matthew Boyd signed a 2-year, $29 million deal with the Cubs. And I'm, again, not saying that he didn't earn it. He was great for Cleveland in their playoff push, very consistent in his shorter starts in the playoffs. So I'm not saying he's not worth it. I think he had a 3.14 ERA when he went to Cleveland. But again, myriad of injuries. And I guess you could say that about every pitcher, but 14.5 for a guy like that makes you feel like the Max Fried, Corbin Burns, they could get 185 to 200 million easy, with Blake Snell already getting 182. I know the Dodgers deferred a lot of that, as they typically do, but the price of pitching is just insane. So it makes you think that for the Braves, you're going to have to see another Ronaldo Lopez type of creative turn reliever to starter type thing. And there's been a lot of rumors that other teams are trying to copycat that. And I don't know if we'll dip into that well again or not, but it was certainly successful with Ronaldo Lopez, especially at $10 million per year on the original contract for Ronaldo as well. So pretty cheap in terms of starting pitching standards. But it just looks like the Braves are going to have to be creative with it, because we typically don't hand out large contracts for starting pitching. We just don't do it. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see. And it feels like Charlie Morton may get like 2 years, $40 million, based on the price tag of the early pitching signings. Yusei Kikuchi, 3 years, 63, around the same, 21. So, I mean, it's expensive no matter how you slice it for starting pitching. So it'll be interesting, because the Braves really need to shore up that portion of the ball club one way or another. They know that. We know that. Everybody knows that. And then the other big notes from MLB.com, Braves beat writer Mark Bowman. The Braves are unlikely to listen on... they're going to listen on anybody, but Hurston Waldrop feels untouchable-ish right now in terms of trade. They feel like they can, they certainly look like they have a plan for him, and they see him as a vital piece to the future. He did say the two likely trade candidates may be AJ Smith-Shawver, who I honestly see more as a high-leverage reliever back-end bullpen guy, just with his stuff and the inconsistency of his breaking ball. That's just my opinion. And Drake Baldwin, even though I really don't want to see that, even though he's probably our most valuable trade chip, but with the departure of Travis d'Arnaud, obviously you could go for a guy, allergies, you can go for a guy with like Kyle Higashioka or something of that nature, but I feel like we do such a good job of developing catchers, aka Shea Langeliers and William Contreras, that I feel like we need to keep one of our valued catching prospects and keep him in our uniform. But again, if we get us a premium shortstop or something like that, I can live with it. But I would really like to see what Drake Baldwin can do in a Braves uniform. I just feel like he has a real chance, especially learning from Sean Murphy. And there was also some scuttlebutt that a lot of Braves pitchers did not want to throw to William Contreras, and that may have prompted the move for a premium catcher in Sean Murphy. It's a little interesting, but I can also see it because William Contreras does snatch when he catches and is not like smooth or quiet when he brings the glove back. So that could definitely have played factor in the trade. I don't know if that's the case. Again, Mark Bowman knows more than I would, but that's just my interpretation of why we might have moved on from William Contreras despite the success he's having in Milwaukee. That plays factor, and if your pitchers aren't comfortable, that's a terrible thing, and you need organizational continuity, especially behind the plate. So that makes a lot more sense. And also, we signed Connor Gillespie to a right-handed pitcher, Connor Gillespie, to a 1-year non-guaranteed split contract with an invite to spring training. He had a really good season in the KBO. 12 teams were after his services. 2.25 ERA in 3 appearances with the Cleveland Guardians last year as well. So it's a low risk, high reward. I wouldn't buy too much into it, but depth is always quality. We saw Grant Holmes kind of come out of nowhere and make himself a spot. So maybe Connor Gillespie can do that as well. But again, some people freaked out over it, but it's a non-guaranteed split contract. So if he impresses in spring training, there's an avenue. But I wouldn't read too much into it. But I think that covers it all. But as always, go Braves, champions forever. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps it a lot. Thanks, guys.